Good afternoon, everyone. I am Christy Nome. TSA will no longer require travelers to remove their shoes when they go through our security checkpoints. This is something that I know for quite some time people have talked about and discussed, and we know that when President Trump was elected that he pledged to make life better for all Americans, and that includes those who are travelers going through our busy airports. We want to improve this travel experience, but while maintaining safety standards and making sure that we are keeping people safe as they go to take their vacations, travel for work, or spend time with their families. So we took a hard look at how TSA does its business, how it does its screening processes, and what we do to make people safe, but also provide some hospitality as well. Continuously evaluating the travel experience for every single person coming. TSA first implemented the no shoes policy in 2006, almost 20 years ago. And in those 20 years, since that policy was put in place, our security technology has changed dramatically. It's evolved. TSA has changed. We have a multi-layered, whole-of-government approach now to security and to the environment that people anticipate and experience when they come into an airport that has been honed and it's been hardened. We are very confident that we can continue to provide hospitality to folks and for American travelers and for those visiting our country while maintaining the same standard of security for passengers and for our homeland. The key to our approach is layered security. Passengers will still pass through multiple layers of screening. They'll also go through identity verification, and in fact, TSA has recently experienced some fantastic success with implementing Real ID through our airports. I think most Americans will be very excited to see. The one thing that I will say is that doesn't mean that there won't be times once in a while where someone will have to remove their shoes. If they get put into a different situation or need additional layers of screening where that may be asked of them, but overwhelmingly the policy will be that no longer will that be required of every single person that comes to a checkpoint. That they get to keep their shoes on. And we are excited with the fact that we have the technology now, that we have the multi-layers of screening in place that we've built in over the recent several years that give us the ability to allow our travelers to keep their shoes on. It will be a much more streamlined process going forward. Thank you. Have a wonderful Since the no shoes policy went into place in 2006, we have made advancements in how we screen individuals. As you've gone and traveled through airports, I'm sure you've recognized it as well. We've added new scanners, new technologies, more TSO officers in some areas. If the Real ID compliance allows us another layer of security, knowing who's going through our checkpoints and who isn't, you'll still see dogs being used to be able to check different bags and individuals as they go through. So all of those processes give us the ability to allow travelers now to keep their shoes on.
It is expected that the Transportation Security Administration is going to do away with the requirements that have been in place for about 20 years of having travelers remove their shoes when they pass through airport security checkpoints. Some airports have already put this new policy into place unannounced, where they are not requiring shoe removal. On Sunday, that's expected to go into effect for most U.S. airports, and shortly after that at all U.S. airports. We don't know what is driving this decision specifically, if there's an upgrade on the technology used to detect explosives. But one thing that we do know is that the Transportation Secretary Administration and interaction with it at these checkpoints is one of the friction points. About 3 months after September 11th, a man named Richard Reed boarded a Paris to Miami flight with explosives in his shoes and tried to ignite them. And by 2006, that policy was official. Everybody had to remove shoes when going through airport security checkpoints unless you were younger than 12 and older than 75.
I think it's an interesting change because I know TSA hasn't had that requirement for some time, so I wondered if eventually it would trickle down to, I don't have TSA pre-check because I only travel maybe once a year, so the fee didn't really make much sense for me. So it's a nice change because I know sometimes that's the big holdup in the line is having to take off shoes and then people wanting to stop right there at the end and put their shoes back on. So I'm hopeful that maybe it will help with the flow of people through the security checkpoints. But I've had issues with traveling with my family when there's 4 or 5 of us, if my in-laws are with us, where, we have to wait for, my elderly father-in-law to put on his shoes, which, is hard for somebody who isn't very mobile, doesn't have that great mobility. So when we travel with him, I think it'll be a great help, yes.